e-GMAT's approach, I really like the plan that you improve step by step. It's not like a huge jump at once. So it's step by step. You learn a topic, you practice few questions, then you learn different topics, then you practice for that particular topic, and then you combine like cementing quizzes are there to practice for a combined particular major chapter. And then we come to the sectional mocks for a section mastery, and then full length mock. Along with those analytics which e-GMAT provides. The analytic is very solid here. So we can actually try to identify which mistakes are there and where we are actually lacking. So I think e-GMAT mocks are a little bit on the tougher side. So I mean, when you learn the tougher side, the medium and the easy side becomes automatically, habitual to you. So it becomes just automatic process for you. So when mastering those e-GMAT mocks was really, really helpful actually. The questions were really tough and I was not able to score as much as I needed there. But when I gave the official mocks, it was like I felt like a piece of cake at first time. LMP is like, since it is very, very hyper personalized. So that is something I was very glad for that I got with the e-GMAT. So, I always needed a mentor. I knew I could not do this alone.
So, hi Nevedhya, welcome to today's video debrief session. To our viewers here, we have Nevedhya who recently scored a 675 on his GMAT with a brilliant Q88, a V82, and a DI80. And this is behind a score plateau that he was stuck in and a brilliant improvement, 80 point improvement from his last GMAT score. So Nevedhya, before we delve into how you finally broke the score plateau and are here. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you so much, Rashmi. So I'm Nevedhya and I'm an undergraduate student at IIT Madras. So when I started my GMAT preparation, I tried my hand at it actually self. So I was preparing self and I gave it 2 months around, but I was not able to pass a certain barrier in the growth actually. So I realized that I'll need someone to guide and who could provide me a tailored way of learning this course throughout. So that is when I got to know about e-GMAT, and thus I started my journey with e-GMAT.
Got it. So how did you select e-GMAT?
So actually, I was looking for different coachings. So I went to GMAT Club as well. I saw a few GMAT Club reviews. I also spoke to few of my siblings. So they prepared for GMAT early, and then they recommended me that e-GMAT is good to go with. So that is how I ended up with e-GMAT. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. So I hope you're happy with your journey with us.
Definitely.
So yeah. So now coming to your journey, Nevedhya, right? You mentioned that you tried your hand at self-study. You self-studied for a couple of months, and then your score was in its late 500s, needing an improvement across quant, verbal, and data insights. Your score was a Q81, V70, I78 kind of a thing, right? When you started with e-GMAT. So, you know, uh, you did the entire course. You started by creating the study plan, and then you followed the structured approach that we at e-GMAT suggest students do, the three-stage approach. So what change did that bring in your prep, and how different was it from your self prep?
Sure. So I'll just talk about how I started self actually. Then I'll move on to how e-GMAT changed it.
Mm-hmm.
So as a student, what someone would do is like go to YouTube. There are tons of videos, content available about how to prepare for GMAT. So
Mm-hmm.
I followed the same approach. I got to know about different types of, what is involved in the syllabus and what kind of study routine or what should approach I should follow to get the discourse. I started with my first paper. So first test I attempted office one. So I got somewhere around 515 or 525 maybe. That was my base
Mm-hmm.
score. So I wanted to improve about that. So that's when I followed few different approaches from GMAT Club and YouTube, and I gave it 2 months there. So it was not very structured of it. So because I was first time doing this, I didn't know about
Mm-hmm.
how to go with the GE, how to go with the GMAT actually. So verbal was particularly haunting me. It was I was not able to finish the section in 45 minutes. It was really tough for me to complete all those 23 questions. So that is when I realized that I'll need someone to guide and tackle this particular section along with the DI, because DI is a mix of verbal and quant. So quant was particularly where I was strong at already. So verbal and DI was something I needed help with. So that is how I came for e-GMAT, and then e-GMAT's approach I really like the plan. You improve step by step. It's not like a huge jump at once. So it's step by step. You learn a topic, you practice few questions, then you learn different topics, then you practice for that particular topic, and then you combine like cementing quizzes are there to practice for a combined particular major chapter. And then we come to the sectional mocks for a section mastery, and then full length mocks. So this step by step improvement is, I think, something which we get used to, and that is how we reflect in the real time exam as well. So it's nothing new in the exam time. Usually what we learn, we reflect the same there. It's repetition. Yeah.
Got it. So this blockwise improvement followed by reinforcement, and then of course test readiness through sectional mocks was really useful. Now, you mentioned verbal and DI were your bigger concerns, but your quant score also when you started was a Q81, and from there a Q88 is a phenomenal jump. You did the course, and coming from your background, being an IITian, I'm sure there were concepts that were your stronger areas. There might be some topics which sort of were your weakness, which were holding back your score, right? And you use PACE extensively, as in you use the PACE to guide you through, the course, give you that customized pathway. Can you tell us how PACE was really instrumental in getting you to that 88 and finally also helping you save that time?
Definitely. So when I first attempted the GMAT mock, so I was able to get the quant within 45 minutes. So the score was not really good though. I mean, like, it was considerable because, like, given my background, I was already studying math in engineering background from IIT. So maths was something I liked really. So, but after point, like when I attempted multiple different mocks, so I was not able to complete even the quant in 45 minutes. So that is some I realized, no, I'll need a good guided pathway for this. And when at e-GMAT, it was not very much new for me. I already knew, but I didn't realize it how to use those concepts in the exam. So that is how I mastered quant as well. And in the final exam, and usually in all the further mocks, I was able to complete quant within, like less than 10 minutes left from the final. So like around 30 to 35 minutes was good enough for me to complete the quant section.
Got it.
So
So
that is how, like,
essentially,
all I cemented together in a way that could help me get those scores. Yeah.
got it. So it was not so much that you did not know the concepts, but it was how to now apply that concept and how to solve the GMAT-like questions, right?
Yeah.
And in that, of course, come the process skills, right? And just to show our viewers here, how the pace really helped you get to that customized path of, because your conceptual knowledge was good, and here we can see that in PACE, you start by taking a couple of diagnostic quizzes, and these diagnostic quizzes, we can see that your concept diagnostic quiz was 100%. So you ended up skipping all the concept files, and because there were some gaps, as denoted by this 86% in the GMAT skills. And GMAT skills are essentially the way you approach to solve these questions, right? You had to go through few files, and in word problems alone, the kind of time saving was uh, close to 12 hours. So phenomenal job this way, and as we were discussing, PACE also helped you save over 42 hours of prep time in one. And I'm sure that that kind of time saving helped you focus more verbal and DI, wherein you said you needed that a bit more focused effort, right? So, Nevedhya, coming to verbal, what were your bigger challenges in verbal?
So one challenge, there are like multiple challenges I faced, but the major ones were usually the reading speed and also the pre-thinking, I guess. So
Mm-hmm.
reading was one of the problem which was taking a lot of time for me. So
Mm-hmm.
even in the reading comprehension, I was able to get the answers right without the time pressure. So time was something I needed to tackle on so that I can read and comprehend the passage context which was there to solve the questions. So that was something, an e-GMAT, which I learned a step-by-step process from pre-thinking, then visualization, and that's how I learned how to tackle those arguments in critical reasoning as well. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that helped me. So pacing was the problem and critical thinking, yeah. So that was two of the
Okay.
major problems, whereas
Okay. Okay. And this sort of the structured approach that you're talking about, um, how did it help you manage your pacing finally?
sure. So usually we follow the plan that we try to read the question and just jump directly onto the passage and try to solve the question. But at e-GMAT, what I learned was, understand the passage properly, give it time, some extra time up front so that we don't have to invest extra time on the further questions. So that
Mm-hmm.
was something I really liked, and we gave up front like around 4 minutes, 4 to 5 minutes, and I was able to complete the entire passage within 6 to 7 minutes. Earlier, it was
Mm-hmm.
10 to 12 minutes for a single passage. So that's
Mm-hmm. Oh,
how I
wow.
reduced my timing. Yeah,
Got it, got it, got it. I just wanted to show one graph here wherein you speak about pre-thinking and you speak about CR as to how from a 55% accuracy you gradually improved. We plowed through and got to that 65, which is an 85th percentile kind of an abilities level. So while yeah, the score was good, the improvement was gradual too. It needed a lot of sweat and hard work, and not just that. And you can see that the time steadily decreased from that 2.5 minutes to below 2 minutes, which is a phenomenal achievement because when you are able to save that kind of time and CR, you are able to use that for RC, right?
exactly.
Yeah. So now coming to DI, Nivedya. You did verbal, you did quant, and then you moved to DI. So how useful was that? And basically, if you could help us understand how the owning the data set approach that we at e-GMAT talk about and ask you to follow, how did that really help you is the DI?
Sure. So first, I'll start with DS actually, data sufficiency. So DS is something, like mostly majorly based on the quant itself. So I was confident in quant, but I was not at all performing well in DS. So
Mhm.
DS was one of my worst weaknesses. So I was like,
Okay.
even I was surprised, like, how is it happening? Like,
Yeah.
I'm a strong
That
at
is
quant and
surprising, right?
yeah, exactly. Like I'm good at quant and still I'm faulting in DS questions, which is just a representation of quant itself.
Mm-hmm.
So there I got to learn from e-GMAT in a better way that how to tackle those questions. So that is really that really helped me. So DS
Mm-hmm.
becomes one of my strongest concept there. And then
Mm-hmm.
MSR was something also which haunted me because there is ton of data in MSR. At first
Mm-hmm.
glance, you get afraid with the amount of data they present usually.
Mm-hmm.
So that was very haunting in the beginning. But as we read along and as we try to understand and just basically like owning the data set, so that is something
Mm-hmm.
which gives us the confidence to solve those questions, which are easy ones. Once we understand the data properly, then questions are just the answers come along with the flow actually.
Got it, got it. So, yeah, because first you have to understand what the data is about, right? To even begin trying to solve the question. So, coming to your prep, Nivedya, I know you've done the course really, really well, and we onboarded into the Last Mile Push program. Anything you have to speak about the LMP and how it helped you finally, you know, come to where we are?
Sure. So there is certainly something I would like to talk about. So LMP is like, since it is very, very hyper personalized. So that is something I was very glad for that I got with the e-GMAT. So,
Mhm.
I always needed a mentor. I knew I could not do this alone because it was the first time I'm doing this. I know there would be certain things which I'm not aware of that my mentor would know. And he or she could guide me in a certain way that I could go with. Since you are my mentor, so actually I'm thankful. So, when I was facing problems, there was a certain point where the growth was stagnant here as well. So I'm not able to pass that barrier along, and I needed someone to push me through. So it was, I was growing impatience there actually. So mentor really helps in that kind of scenario to, mentally help you with this stress and also get along this progress part. So that is something I'm really glad for that LMP provides. So it is really good to have a personalized who could review all those mistakes you do, all the progress you're doing, and guide you in a particular way, along with those analytics which e-GMAT provides. The analytic is very solid here. So we can actually try to identify which mistakes are there and where we are actually lacking.
Yeah.
I think that really
Use
helps.
your DI skills to figure out where your
Exactly.
improvement is going to come from, right?
Applying it along with learning. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, I know because we did face quite a bit of challenges when we finally moved to the stage of mocks because the mocks weren't showing the kind of improvement that we expected to see post all the improvement plans. But lo and behold, you take the test, you finally get the score that you wanted on the test day, right? So my question to you is, your mock scores didn't go as planned, but I'm sure those learnings finally translated into the score that you got on the test, right? So how do you leverage mocks to really make that difference on the D-Day?
All right. So I think e-GMAT mocks are a little bit on the tougher side. So I mean, when you learn the tougher side, the medium and the easy side becomes automatically, habitual to you. So it becomes just automatic process for you. So when mastering those e-GMAT mocks was really, really helpful actually. The questions were really tough and I was not able to score as much as I needed there. But when I gave the official mocks, it was like I felt like a piece of cake at first. I mean, like it's just going with the flow, and I don't know what's happening there. So then I realized like e-GMAT mocks are really something which is helping me mastering all this process and putting all the concepts together in a single set of 2 hours and 15 minutes. So I guess that was really, really helpful because mastering GMAT is not just about problem solving, right? It's about strategy, focus, and section order it is, spacing. So along with the problem solving. So that is something we need to master all those factors to ace the GMAT. I think
Got
that
it.
was really helpful there, practicing with e-GMAT, those mocks. Yeah.
Yeah. And you felt prepared when you went to take the test that things are going to go well?
Yes, I was confident. I was confident.
Good.
Like after giving the official marks, I was confident. But with
Mm-hmm.
e-GMAT, I was like a little bit worried because the marks were tough. But when I gave the official marks after the e-GMAT marks, so it helped me and it connected the dot. So I
Yeah,
realized, okay, that helped me to master these concepts here in the actual official marks. And then I
got it.
became automatically I got that confidence boost. Okay, then I think the exam would be good enough to.
Okay. So no test day surprises, no test day anxieties. Test went well.
Exactly. So it's like you don't have to innovate anything new there in the exam. It's just a repetition, whatever you practiced throughout. You just have to repeat the same here in the exam. So it's nothing innovating new, something.
Got it. That's a very cool cucumber attitude, I would say. That there's nothing new to happen today. But I think that's the way to go because what brings everything together on the test day is how well you're able to manage your nerves, keep your cool, and as you exactly said, just do
Right.
what you have been doing all these days during preparation, right? So,
Right.
Nevedhya, it has been quite a journey, right? Spanning few months. So, for all the other GMAT aspirants out there, do you have any key takeaways from your journey that they could benefit from too?
Sure. So I would say certainly one thing that I think whenever you're trying something, you definitely need a mentor or someone to guide. So I was like a little bit foolish enough to try self actually. So I think that wasted a significant amount of my time. So I could have gotten this GMAT early, but trying self and preparing out all those, trying out different things actually used up a significant amount of my time, like 2 months, right? So I think that I would recommend anyone that if you're not a very exceptional guy who could do it within 1 month, just by practicing a little on the GMAT club questions or anywhere. So I would say it's good to go with any coaching. I think coaching really helps, get there to the target score. I would say
Got
that.
it. Got it. It of course depends on, I think, where you start out with, right? You said your starting score was a 515. So definitely, that means if you're already at, say, 675, 685, then go ahead, prepare on, as you rightly
You're
said.
already
Yeah,
on your above extraordinary, then I think you can do it. But if you are an average guy, you need a little bit of push. I think a coaching would be a
got
good
it.
option to go with. It's like,
Yes, yes.
and then it is investment or on your education, right? You'll definitely get a return on it.
That's such a good way to put it. You're investing on yourself, right?
Correct.
So, and I'm glad that paid out, right? And I wish you all the very best for the next steps you have planned. We are all rooting for you. We'll see you on the other end of your MIM program.
Okay.
All the
Thank you.
best. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye bye.